what am I going to make for dinner today? It's the question that nobody likes to answer and nobody likes to think about, especially me. For context, I work a 9 to 5, and I think that is my most feared question after work. I don't want to think about having to make myself a meal and how I'm going to get all the ingredients together, prepare the pans, prepare the dishes, clean the dishes. I cannot spend a minute thinking of it. And now you're thinking about what you want to eat for dinner. Let me look on TikTok. Let me look if there's any ideas for meal prepping, for fine dining, for any sort of eatery that would really fit my needs. And then eventually you end up on Nara Smith's page. Nara Smith is a TikTok trad wife influencer, or traditional wife influencer, that has gone viral on TikTok for her videos where she makes things in her kitchen completely from scratch.
Started by making my bread. This is a really simple no-knead recipe. You put all of your dry and wet ingredients into a bowl, give it a mix, and let it rise for 2 hours, which gives me enough time to start making my cheese. I combine some milk, citric acid, and run it in my pot. Let that heat up, and then once it's solidified, I'd return it back to the heat and stir it gently before letting all the curds drain and then stretching it out.
I mean everything down to the finest detail. For example, if you want pasta, she's not going to be using the boxed pasta that everyone else would. She is going to be making her own dough in her kitchen for her to use. And this goes for all of the recipes that she makes. For example, she's gone viral for making Oreos completely from scratch, as well as pizza, pasta, marshmallow fluff, Pop-Tarts, barbecue wings, any sort of dish that you think you could make at home, she has made it completely from scratch. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's not a bad thing. What's so wrong with that? Good question. So, she's recently gone under fire and gotten a little bit of controversy because of the lifestyle that she chooses to live. Now, Nara Smith, if you look at her videos, she's clearly pretty wealthy. She's got a beautiful kitchen, beautiful house, beautiful husband, and she is making all of her food from scratch and finds all of this time to make this food. Cooking is not an easy ordeal. This is why she's gotten under fire and she's gotten a little bit of controversy headed her way, because people are upset about how she's feeding this lifestyle of constantly making your own food from scratch while also being extremely wealthy. And so today in this video, I thought that we would talk about Nara Smith and her influence in TikTok, the implications of that in today's society and why she's gotten so viral, as well as recreate one of her viral meals that she's made. So like I said, she's gone viral for making a lot of meals and things from scratch. The video that I saw that went completely viral was her making cereal in her house from scratch for her own kids. She starts the video off saying that she woke up and her kids wanted cereal and they wanted Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Today my toddlers wanted cereal for breakfast again, so I decided to make some Cinnamon Toast Crunch since that's my husband's favorite cereal and the kids have never had it. So I combine all of my dry ingredients into a bowl, give that a really good mix, and then slowly add some oil and water. I incorporate everything with my spatula and then move on to using my hands. Then I add in the cinnamon and make sure it's incorporated before putting my dough on some parchment paper. I use another sheet of parchment paper on top and roll it out as thin as I can. Once it's rolled out, I'm using a pizza cutter to just cut it into squares or rectangles. You can do it in whatever shape you want. I ended up making 2 batches. Sprinkled it with some sweetener. You can use sugar. I used monk fruit sweetener. I put it on my parchment paper and baked it in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes before I turned it down to 250 and baked it for another 35. I pulled it out the oven, let it cool, and then broke the squares apart before adding them to bowls with some milk. And this is now a favorite in our house.
I thought today would be the day that we would try that and see whether or not it's attainable and useful. So we're going to get started on the oat milk to start for today. Alright, so welcome to my kitchen. Hopefully I am in frame, but I probably won't be in frame for the majority of the video, but that's okay because the prime focus today is to make the stuff for the recipe. So like I said, we're going to make the oat milk, not oatmeal, I just want to keep saying oatmeal, but oat milk for the cereal. Now this recipe I got from a TikTok creator on TikTok, of course. Her name is Kim, but her title of the channel is like Kim's Kitchen. and she had this oat milk recipe that went viral this week, and I was like, I didn't know it was that easy, and I don't know why I'm paying for all this money, paying all this money for this expensive brand, like Planet Oat or something like that, for example, and I can just make it at home. So maybe there is something to be said about all this stuff from making it from scratch. The ingredient list for this I will put up in the video or put it in the description below. It's really simple. This is just 2 liters of water in here right now, 2 tablespoons of sweetener. I'm going to use honey. In Kim's Kitchen's video, she used maple syrup and oil. I'm just going to use coconut oil. Hopefully that is focused enough. Focus on me. And then vanilla, I'm going to use, oh wait, did I put it up here? I don't know where to do it really. Okay. Found the vanilla. I usually have this like Mexican vanilla that my mom gets when she goes on vacation in Mexico, but for now we're just going to use this stuff and we'll put the ingredients in. So Kim said it was really easy. All you really had to do was just use the oats that you have, and you don't really have to do anything to it, which was also really surprising for me. I thought that you had to cook it or something, but you don't. And Nara Smith didn't say that she used any oat milk or any special milk in her recipe, but my guess is since she makes literally everything from scratch, she is probably making oat milk from scratch. So this is the oat, and then I just put in the coconut oil, and then I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of honey. I'm not going to measure it out because I don't really care. I just want it to taste good, and I'm sure it will. Measure with the heart, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to do this and just go with the vanilla, just a little splish splash. Then we just blend it for 30 seconds. I'm sure you will not be able to hear me. This blender is loud. And so that's our oat milk now. It's literally like so easy. I really did not think that this was going to be that easy. So now I'm like, do I just make everything from scratch? This is also a mesh strainer bag for the oat milk. You do need one of these. I got this from Amazon. I don't think it really matters as long as it does not get the big chunks into the oat milk. What I was saying with Nara Smith, I think the biggest concern that people have with her content is that she lives such a lavish life that it's not attainable for everybody. And oh, if you should have had somebody else hold this, but I am a one-man show kind of person, and so now I know to maybe pour it in a little slower. Okay, there we go. We're making magic happen now. Like I was saying, with Nara Smith, I think the biggest concern is that she has this lifestyle while also having a lot of wealth in her pocket, and I think that isn't talked about enough in the videos, especially when the videos are for people who may be wanting to do this, but also don't have that same lifestyle as well as the wealth that she has. You look at her videos and you'll see that she's got extravagant gowns on and the perfect house, and her husband is Lucky Blue Smith. He's like pretty prestigious in the model world. I knew of him from like Tumblr, and like he kind of blew up because that he has these like really ultra piercing blue eyes. If you looked at them, they're kind of like the Miley Cyrus meme a little bit, where I think that also is the thing that kind of gets her in trouble, as well as her religion, which we will discuss. I'm going to put it into a little jug, and then we're going to use it later for the video. New and improved angle for the kitchen. So I thought this would be fun. We're going to get started on the Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. The sugar into a bowl. So that is our sugar. Not sure where you can see it, but that's the sugar. And then we're going to combine that with a bunch of cinnamon. Nara Smith, in her videos, she doesn't put the recipe in her bio or like in the description of the video or anything. I just use a recipe that I have on my phone for the cinnamon toast crunch cereal, and so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use the blender. It says you want to use a food processor, but I don't have one of those, so we're going to be using this instead. So to start, it says to combine the sugar with the cinnamon, which we just did, of course, and then you're going to want to do the flour that we have, and we're going to combine that into the food processor. And I'm going to use this a better way. I'm going to do this in a better way that's more efficient, because that was getting flour everywhere. I could probably also have mixed the dough with just like a hand mixer, but I wasn't sure because it said food processor, so it sounded a little bit more important to use a blender. And then you have to add the butter, it says, of course, in the recipe, and then it just says to use cold butter, which is something that's not something that I'm like familiar with in a recipe. For when I make recipes, usually like it's asking for like room temperature butter, but this one just says to use the cold sticks of butter for this specific food blender process. And then it says to add some more cinnamon. Let me do the right side so I'm not adding a bunch of it. A little bit more cinnamon in there. Probably a little bit more than that is what I'm thinking, but cinnamon, and then a little bit of salt. It says just a pinch of salt, and we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. Okay. Because this is supposed to make our dough. I do have some dough that is sticking to the side of the blender. I'm going to keep that in the video. I just launched my phone off the table. Okay, it is forming pea-sized balls. Add the vanilla, and so we're going to add the sugar then next into the recipe. Get that. Let me push this blender out from the corner of the cabinet. My kitchen is really small. I don't have a Nara Smith kitchen. She's got this glorious like island, and it's really nice, and I don't have that luxury, so I'm gonna make it work with like shape, and then we're gonna do that. I'm gonna mix that up a little better, and then, now at this point I could probably take it out of the blender, but I'm gonna leave it in just because that cold water will kind of help activate the dough a little bit, and then I'm gonna take it out and then kind of do the rest of the recipe as follows. So that's the rule there, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do that now, because I mistakenly took out this polish, because now the dough is going to be all messed up a little bit. Let's see, some of that dough didn't mix, so that's something like, what? So definitely use this with a food blender, maybe get a food blender, or just hand mix it next time. Or just hand mix it next time, just, I don't know. Don't do that specifically, because this is kind of a little bit tedious. Right now I'm scooping out all of this. Perfect. And then I'm basically just going to put it back in because I need this to be blended. It smells really good. It smells really good, so that's good. Right now I'm feeling as if this is a little bit more tedious, but maybe that's because I maybe just took a route that wasn't necessarily needed. Like I said, the blender might just be the part that I really would have appreciated. It seems pretty well mixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly add in, I have half a cup of water right here, because that's what this recipe calls for. So add half a cup just to make sure that the dough activates, and it says to add like little increments at a time. So that's what I'm doing, just to make sure that that performs. Oh yeah, it's thick. Holy, yeah, it's thick. Right now, I think this is definitely showing like how difficult it is to make food the first time from scratch. Maybe once you make it multiple times after this fact. This is like very tedious for a bowl of cereal. And I don't know when I started, but I know it's been an hour, and at least more than that maybe, for this cereal. So I would be very surprised if she actually makes this for her children. That's bad. I'm gonna put all of this in the dough again and kind of mix that up a little bit better. I don't know, it says basically that I just kind of make this dough. The recipe that I found as well did not have an accompanying video, so I couldn't figure out what steps needed to look like what and what to do when I went wrong. So, we'll see. We will see. This looks like dough, right? Right? Looks like we've made the dough, and now we're gonna form it and cut it up into little section of squares. Okay. So I wasn't supposed to do this. I was supposed to make the dough look like this, and then I'm supposed to put it onto the... That's so fun. I'm gonna put this onto the baking sheet, and then once it's on the baking sheet, then I'm gonna cut it up. Like, come on now. So now I have the dilemma of trying to get this off the table, which is once again my own fault. So this might be a little bit more difficult than I need it to be. I maybe should have just done this on the parchment paper. So, because this is not working. oh, my counters. my counters. They're gonna be so messed up after this. Let me do that the proper way then next time and put it here. And then we're gonna roll it out with... That was not a fart, that was me doing it with my mouth, I promise. That was not flatulence. Am I supposed to make sure this like doesn't stick to the parchment paper? Okay, prayers and hope, I guess, I don't know. Alright, so then we're gonna... I'm gonna get my coconut oil, and then we'll make some sugared cinnamon again, like I did. Because I think what the sugar cinnamon was supposed to be on top. I promise I am good in the kitchen. When you record yourself doing it, all thought processes are lost. I'm gonna tell you now, just get the box cereal. Just get the box cereal. All right, and now I'm gonna do the squares so that way we can have this for cereal. If Nara Smith wakes up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., maybe she could do this. That straight line, that's so bad, that is so bad. This, I don't know. Okay. And then we're gonna put it into the oven for, I think it was a little bit of time. I don't remember. Baking it in the oven for 12 to 14 minutes. But this is what it looks like right now. So pretty good. The cinnamon toast crunch is now out of the oven. Like it took about like 15 minutes. This is me checking them. This is why they're all flipped over, is because I was checking them to see how brown they were. This one wasn't taking as long. As you can see, you can kind of tell that it's a little bit more crispy on the bottom, which is good because that's what you want. You want that to be able to be like very crispy so you can break it off easily. So that's what we're going to do now, is I'm just going to break it off, and then I'm going to put it into a bowl, and we will taste test it with the oat milk that we made as well. All right, this is the taste test for the cereal. Now it looks pretty good to me. I did put the oat milk that we made earlier today in as well. You know what? Honestly, I don't know why I'm surprised, because it's like cinnamon and sugar, but it's really good. It's really good. I'm at a dichotomy because I think that's kind of what Nara Smith's content creates is because like I would make this again, but it was almost like not worth the time that I put into making it, if that makes sense. Like, would I make this though just for a bowl of cereal, like all that effort and time, which is like kind of where we are as a society. Like, this was an enjoyable experience, I'll say that much. Nara Smith, her content, which is making things from scratch, and how attainable I think that is. I don't think I really got to touch on it very much when I was in there. Content creators are feeding us a fantasy. And the reason that I think that Nara Smith is really having her moment right now is because of the fact that groceries are expensive and everyone in America is struggling in some way, shape, or form, unless they're like the 1%. It's really hard for people to afford housing and living right now, and I think that's why her content is really skyrocketing, because it's what people want to see in the world. Like, I would love a world where I had no time constraints and I could just make things from scratch from my house, which is really great, and it's not a bad thing to influence or anything like that, but it is also something that we need to recognize is because of the time that we're in. So I would rate this like maybe I'll do a 7 out of 10. I also think there's a lot of user error in this. Well, I know there's user error in this. The oat milk is really, really good. That is something I will continue to do, actually, because that was so easy and so like quick, 2, 1 done. Like, that was good. That was 10 out of 10. Oat milk, 10 out of 10, very good. And yeah, this I would say maybe when I had time. This is when I had time. So that's my not so much critique at all on Nara Smith right now, but more so commentary. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that we had some technical difficulties this episode with my camera dying, for one. I thought I charged all the battery packs. I did not. So that's what led us here with the phone. But maybe my phone's quality is a lot better. I just don't like it because I can't see where I am. But I'll get used to it. So thank you for watching the video again, and leave a like and a comment, I'm going to say, if you feel so inclined to, and I will see you in the next one. Hopefully I will be doing something more along the lines of cooking and some commentary. Maybe we'll get better at doing the commentary in the video and not so much at the end of it, but thank you again. Have a good day. I'm gonna eat my cereal.